Wanting to keep my podcast sponsorships and advertisements free, I stayed away from such options. Instead, earlier this year, an alternative appeared. With my fiancée, we have joined a rapidly growing marketing network for a company which develops technologies and healthcare products based on traditional Chinese medicine. Instead of advertising products and services, I've decided to extend this opportunity to you. While this opportunity may not be for everyone and might still be unavailable in your country, I have no doubt that in time it could be, and therefore, here we are. If you are looking for a side hustle, an alternative way of earning, and a space to grow as your own boss and manager, this program could be for you. Commission-based and fully remote, I believe it to be an opportunity for those who feel like a 9-to-5 model takes away too much of their life and isn't exactly worth their time. If you'd like to learn more, follow the link below. If your country is on the list, you're in. I look forward to working with you, and now, enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to WS Podcast. My name is Wojciech Salski, I'll be your host for today, and before we begin, may I just remind you, if you find this podcast entertaining and useful, if you think it's something worth sharing with the world, then please make sure to follow, subscribe, and that way you will never miss the next episode, and also maybe share it with a friend, sort of pay it forward in a way, and thanks to that, it helps the podcast to grow, it helps me to reach more people, and ultimately over time it's just gonna help the show to grow and make it better as well, as I have more and more time to actually commit to the show rather than other less I would say more menial tasks of one's life. Now, one more thing I wanted to note as well. If you would like to get any other information or, maybe support the podcast in any other way, then please follow the link below. And thank you for all of you who are listening, for all of you who are following, for all of you who are supporting. It means the world to me. And so, yeah, here we are. I'm sorry I'm all over. Yet again, it's a very intense time in my life right now. I have exams coming up. I have my wedding coming up. It's a very, very intense time, I would say. And I've been particularly aware of how these different emotional states and busy schedules are making me feel. And so I'm aware I might be a bit scattered today. I have prepared some notes as per usual. I have some notes on screen as well. And hopefully never, as ever, I'll still be able to provide you with some fun and valuable quality experience here. So today we will talk finally about the book by Deepak Chopra. Let me just see if I can have it here. No, I'm pretty sure it's back home. I'm pretty sure I took it to Poland at some point to show my little brother. The title of the book is 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. And now, first of all, for all of you out there who are hesitant to buy the books or to get the books when I'm suggesting them, maybe because you don't think you have enough time, maybe because you think like if the book is too big, like this one or those ones, you won't be able to make it through. Well, there's nothing to be worried about here. This book is truly a little, very cute, very beautifully made piece of art, and quite frankly, I think, if I remember correctly, it fit into my pocket, into my coat pocket, which made it all the better for me to travel with it as I read it for the first and second time. It's not the kind of book that you sort of have to, follow the story along or whatnot. As the title suggests, it's 7 spiritual laws of success, and ultimately the whole layout of the book is more of a meditation, maybe. You have each chapter dedicated to the different law, and there is some beautifully written, very Deepak Chopra style sort of poetry in a way. It is prose, but it is also poetry in a sense that, to put words in a way that make not only sense but also sound beautifully together is, in my opinion, a level of poetry, even if there are no rhymes and rhythm. Although there is plenty of rhythm in that book. But so the plan for today, and I don't know how long the episode's going to be. Let's see, because it's a small book and I don't want to tell you too much about it. But I thought it might be beneficial for you that at the end of this episode, just before the end of this episode, and I will let you know, I will remind you again to maybe turn off the episode at that point if you think you don't want to know all of those spiritual laws just yet. I will read out a list that I've prepared for you of the different 7 laws that Deepak suggests, with little quotes for each. But in the meantime, I wanted to discuss with you a few that made the biggest impact on me. And I'll even start by saying, if you've had a chance to experience any of Deepak Chopra's work, maybe through some podcasts that you've listened to, maybe through some wonderful meditation challenges that his agency or himself, I don't know how much of putting it out there he actually did, but there is plenty of it out there in terms of content. If you've not, then I would urge you to do so. And I will link below the wonderful 21 days abundance meditation challenge by Deepak Chopra, which are available both on YouTube and, Spotify. I'm pretty sure you can find it on any major platform at this point. And that was the first sort of point of contact that I've had with Deepak's work. And it made a huge impact on me. I've listened to it and I worked through those 21 days abundance meditation challenge for multiple times, multiple occasions, one of which was I've been doing it recently, just as a reminder as well. And the meditations themselves are very low impact, so to speak. It only takes 10 minutes of your time. There is some nice beautifully recorded voiceover and soundtrack to assist you, and it's a sort of contemplation. There are some mantras that are offered, and essentially if you were to go through 21 days of abundance meditation with Deepak Chopra challenge, you'll probably also know all of the laws listed in the book. So it's a very nice way to either support your book adventure, or maybe in place of the book you might want something more practical in terms of activity, and so that's definitely for you, and I'll make sure to link it below, so look out for that, and I would urge you to try. So I've encountered Deepak Chopra's work during COVID. It was the time of my awakening, as I like to say when I'm sort of reflecting on those times. It certainly fell in line with reading the Tibetan book of Living and Dying and the Letting Go. And so as I dived deeper into the different meditations and started contemplating some of ideas from both the Bible and other spiritual writings that, even though I sort of had some relationship with them before, being brought up Christian and certainly jumping through all the hoops of being sort of aspiring Christian, I found this man's work very, very impactful and beautifully resonating with the many perceptions I had of what really is happening around us and how does it feel. So the first law I wanted to talk with you about is the one that I think is the most empowering, if there is any order to be given to those laws. And it's the law of pure potentiality. And the quote here is, "Pure consciousness is pure potentiality. It is the field of all possibilities and infinite creativity." Think about it this way. And I really like this. I think it was Jordan Peterson who sort of portrayed it this way, so I'll steal his idea. When you're young, when you're a child, you have all the potential within you, right? You can be basically anyone. I mean, in terms of maybe your career or where you want to live, there are, in our day and age, there are very little limits to what one can achieve if you're actually putting your mind to it, and arguably if it's something that is actually for you, because we might want many things, but not necessarily those things might want us, if I shall be so blunt. But the way I embrace this idea of pure potentiality is that everything started from a thought, right? Everything starts from the idea. In the Bible, it's even written that first there was a word, right? So if our pure consciousness, the way this awareness that is within you at all times, regardless of your emotional states, regardless whether you're asleep or you're awake, there is this awareness that is just there, like an observer. I imagine like someone sitting on a couch and just observing what's going on. It is also where pure potentiality of ourselves lies, right? So when you're a child, the whole world is open. You have all the potential you can have, but you have very little experience and very little skill. Now, with each waking moment, with each experience you're having, with each step you're taking towards something, you're narrowing your potentiality path in a sense, right? If you specialized in one thing, then you had to forfeit all the different things to single-pointedly aim at that goal. And they say that jack of all trades is a jack of none. I think for a good reason. I mean, you might be able to balance and learn and become an expert in a few different fields, but there is a limit to it. Especially you have the scarcity of time, right? There is only so much time you have in your life. And within that time frame, with each day, that time frame is going down. It's not like once you're 80, you will have more time to live than when you were 60, right? And similarly, when you're 60, it's not like you're going to have more time to live unless we come up with some, crazy, amazing cure that allows us to basically live endlessly than when you were younger, right? So, in a sense, to embrace this pure potentiality idea, I would say that the way that it resonated with me and it gave me the power to act how I felt was suitable for me is to explore what within me, within my consciousness, is where I'm drawn into, what is inspiring for me, and then imagine and consider and ponder and meditate on it, contemplate this idea that I have the potentiality to do so. And the field of all possibilities and infinite creativity is within me at any given moment, right? We don't know what the future holds, but it certainly is an abundant future in terms of the limits of situations, right? There is so many ways this every situation in your life can go. Like even right now, I'm sitting here recording a podcast. There is thousands on thousands of different variables that might impact what happens within this time frame I have with you. I don't know, the ceiling could fall suddenly. I could fall on the floor and my computer could die. Maybe one of the lamps will blow up, and obviously there's many more. And with every word I'm choosing out of the many the infinite potential possibilities. I could start speaking in Polish. I could suddenly say something in Spanish, like there is simply, it's almost impossible for us to grasp how many potential opportunities and potential challenges, which are, I would say, two sides of the same coin, and there are, right? And to meditate on this idea, to stay with it, is what Deepak is inviting us at the very beginning of both his courses and the book. Because especially when you're feeling you're stuck, when you're feeling like you're in a rut, maybe you're, being challenged on some fronts, maybe you've had some mishap happening to you, and because of it you've felt, you're suffering. While it might be very difficult for us to find the good in the situation to begin with, meditating on the idea that there is pure potentiality in every moment of our waking day, life somewhat becomes lighter and somewhat easier, or at least more optimistic, And it's not an optimism that I would say is like a gullible optimism that, I just hope I won't fall, so I'm jumping off a cliff, hoping that, I will not fall down. But it is an optimism of hoping and having faith that by choosing skillfully, by applying my deeper desires and really being in touch with this idea that the universe, the world, God, whatever you believe it, has opportunities for you at every moment, and trying to find them, you're starting to rewire your brain for that. And we've talked about this endlessly on the podcast at this point, It's this idea of your attitude, the attitude of gratitude, the attitude of finding the good rather than the bad, right? It's at the very source of the idea from the Letting Go by David Hawkins that you should start first and foremost by embracing the faith that it will work out. And if you do all you can, and if your heart is pure in a sense that you're not doing something against yourself, then sooner or later it will work out, and you'll see some results and more results, and you'll actually enjoy the process. And so not only is this an invitation for us to basically be more creative with our solutions and open to possibilities, but also, I would say, to empower us to simply look forth to something more and believe that we can, because, you have only so much time in your life, but so much time is a lot of time. You can, there is this tendency apparently that people greatly underestimate what they can do within 5 years and greatly overestimate what they can do in a year. So if you have some goals that you've been setting for yourself, that you've seemed to not been, successful in meeting them over the year, maybe that's actually a 5-year goal for you, and you should just simply keep going. So, looking back now, and it's been a while, I think this podcast is running for almost 4 years now. And, it certainly is one of those things that I'll just keep running. It's just something that I enjoy doing. And so here we are. And I have no doubt that there are all the potentiality possibilities for me. I've had a chance to meet wonderful people, have an amazing conversations, and I didn't really plan it. I just continue doing it. And in the same way, I would encourage you on that front to embrace your own pure potentiality. And if there is something you've been putting aside, just keep doing it, or start doing it and don't stop. And according to Deepak Chopra's Law of Pure Potentiality, there is a seed of potential in all of our actions. It's just a matter of embracing them and moving forward, right? Now, secondly, and I think this is the very, very important aspect that is in line with the previous one, I think, is this idea of like a cycle, a cycle? I don't know, a cycle of abundance, right? So, the law of giving, the cycle of abundance, which basically is a quote: "The more you give, the more you will receive, because you will keep the abundance of the universe circulating in your life." This is very important. It's very interesting because it's also counterintuitive, I think, unless you've had the blessing of being told that earlier in life. We're not really told, I think it's one of those things that people miss, especially formal education misses when we're being brought up in schools, that the more you give, the more you will receive. If you want more love, give more love to others. If you want more money, give more value, more money to others. The very basic law of a marketplace is, as Jim Rohn liked to say, if you want to become a more wealthy person, you need to become more valuable to the marketplace. So, the cynical people out there might say, well, but there are people that are benefiting from creating something really, really bad quality and polluting the planet, everything. And it's like, yeah, fair enough, that's true. But the basic law of creating something of value and getting a reward for it is always there. And you can play along with that law. And this is not to say that you should give with the expectation of receiving. That's very different. But Deepak Chopra emphasizes the opposite of that, the giving without expectation of reward, but with pure belief, faith, that because I believe in abundance, because I believe that there are opportunities out there constantly manifesting, and because I believe that what I'm doing right now will into the future benefit me and others and the world, I simply give, and over time you will see that you start receiving. You can do a very simple experiment for yourself. Try for the next 2 or 3 weeks or even a week, make conscious effort to pay compliments, true compliments, don't fake them, but say truly kind things to people you meet. Maybe at work. Every day, make yourself a goal of every day complimenting one person on something. And I want to emphasize here, make sure that it's a true compliment, right? Like, don't compliment someone's t-shirt if you don't like it. That's not the point, because people, even if you'll manage to lie your way through, on a subconscious level, we know when someone's lying. You can sort of tell from the tone of their voice, from their eye, from the way they look at you, and so forth. So this is certainly tell the truth or at least don't lie kind of situation. But just try it. Give without the expectation of receiving. Become the kind of person that, in this idea of the golden rule, is treating others as you want to be treated. And if you apply that in all the areas of your life, you will see benefits over time. The thing is, though, make sure that you don't expect those benefits there and then, because if you're giving someone something, a gift, but with that gift, according to Deepak Chopra, if with that gift you're expecting already a reward of a sort, maybe there is some agenda you have, maybe you want them to do something for you, or maybe you instantaneously start to think, what could I get out of it? Then the energy with that gift, and it's all about energy, at least according to Deepak Chopra's work, and I do believe that to be true. With that gift, the energy you've gifted comes along, right? So if the gift is without expectations, it will be much cleaner, much more energetically high vibration, right? According to the letting go, David Hawkins, it will be on the higher level of awareness, right? Higher level of vibration, and therefore it will be received in a better way. It will be just a better gift, essentially. And similarly, and this is very powerful. I've been doing this every day for many years now, and I would encourage you to do it as well. We've talked about this before. Deepak Chopra, underlines this idea of being grateful, becoming grateful, and sort of adopting this attitude of gratitude, right? So every day, try to at least once or twice a day list a few things that you're grateful for, a few experiences you've had that you're grateful for, a few people that you're grateful for, a few aspects of your life that you're grateful for. What we're doing here is not only sending good vibrations out there to the world and to those things, but also rewiring ourselves, to our subconscious minds and our brains, essentially, to be more aware, to be more vigilant, to find over the day and write down subconsciously the different things to be grateful for, right? So in a way, over time, what you'll find is it's going to become easier and easier to list those gratitude lists for you. Maybe you've started a few weeks back and you struggled to find even 2 things. You felt like, well, that's too silly and that's not serious and so forth. And that's too little to care. But then over time, because you're starting to rewire yourself to think about them, you'll find that, nowadays when I'm falling asleep, especially that I do struggle to fall asleep often, I just lie down, and as I'm dozing off, I just list different things I'm grateful for. And it's not the most exciting of activities, which is why I end up going to sleep at some point, but it's certainly a pleasant one. And over time, you'll find more and more things to be grateful for, and I can make a bet with you that over time you will also find that your life is better than it was before, because these things, these energies that we're sending out, according to Deepak Chopra, with whom I agree, will end up becoming, empowering these things. There is this quote from Deepak, which I've mentioned to you before. Attention energizes, intention transforms. So when we have the intention of being grateful, and when we pay more attention to the things we're grateful for, we're energizing those things, and we're transforming our life and the relationship we have with those things, people, places, experiences, through those spiritual practices, essentially. Now, I guess, let's see, how are we doing? Okay, all right. So what we'll do is I'll share with you one more point, because as I said, the book is quite small, so I don't want to be sharing too much, but let's see. I'll share with you one more, and then we'll explore what can we do about it. In the third, at least for me, and this is very, very me focused point, I would say, is the law of least effort. Success through ease, basically, which is the idea from the quote: nature's intelligence functions with effortless ease, with carefreeness, harmony, and love. I'll tell you first why this is so particularly powerful for me. And when I was preparing notes for you, I looked back at my notes, and I realized that this is one thing that I kept writing down, to the point that I actually have a tattoo that is referencing this idea. I'm quite neurotic, I think, in a sense that I do, as much as I'm an optimist and I'm very, outgoing and diligent, I do think about the future a lot. So there is a lot of sort of planning that I like to do. I enjoy my tick box lists and schedules. And as we've discussed with you before, in terms of the 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson, there is this idea that your schedule should not become your prison, right? You should schedule your life in a way, ideally, that you will actually want to live it, because it's yours life to live. And it's a very counterintuitive law for me, this idea of least effort, the idea that I'm not fully committed all of the time, that I'm not grinding, especially that, if you think about what the media is portraying for us, and maybe you've been brought up on a similar idea, is this attitude that, work hard, play hard. If you work hard, you'll get what you want, right? If you power through the different challenges, you will reap the benefits. And there is a kernel of truth in that. Certainly, and especially in some of different industries or different jobs, there are aspects of this which are very true. But for the most part, this is not necessarily, according to Deepak Chopra, the best, the most skillful approach to make. And he points out in the book the idea that if you observe how nature acts, and then this is very, very close to Tao Te Ching idea, which we've already also discussed, but I'm not sure if I mentioned it on the podcast at the time. The philosophy of Tao, right? Taoism, that it's all about the middle way. So according to Deepak Chopra, while you should put attention and intention into what you're doing and be purposeful about your activities, at the same time, you should practice this letting go, this acceptance, and basically releasing any negatively charged pressures that we're having. So you sow the the plans that you have, you make consistent effort, not overheating, not overworking, but working smart and doing the necessary steps to get you in the right direction. But then you allow for that, let's say 20%, which probably accounts for 80% of results, that you let go of the outcome. So, for example, I can plan the episode all I want, but there is a limit, right? When I come to discuss this with you, even if I would have 40 pages of my notebook written down with notes and another 30 pages on my notes on screen, there is a certain threshold above which I simply have no control. I have no control of how I will feel throughout the recording. I have no control, as we've discussed before, on the many different things that might happen as I'm recording. And most importantly, to sound genuine and not to constantly be looking at notes or reciting text for you, which would be very, very, difficult to follow, and it would be rather unpleasant for you to listen to. I need to let go, right? I need to let go. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say in a moment. I have some ideas, but for this monologue of a sort, for this discussion to take place, and this is especially true when I'm doing any interview episodes, which, for example, recently I've done a few, so I recommend you check them out if you haven't yet. They were wonderful experiences, especially in a conversation. There is a big threshold above which I'm simply not in control. And if I were trying to be constantly in control, it would sound rigid and unnatural, and no one would actually enjoy themselves. Neither you as the audience, nor my interviewee, and myself, because we would simply be mechanical rather than human in our activity. And so in a very different way, we should approach the law of least effort, at least from my perspective, with this humble surrender, the acceptance that because the majority of struggling, according to Buddhism and Deepak Chopra's work as well, and many other philosophies and spiritual practices of the world, comes from resisting what happens, resisting what is, and struggle against our expectations, how the world shows up and everything. By accepting situations fully and simply observing what is going on, becoming present, giving all we can, but at the same time letting go of the outcomes, this is where the law of least effort comes into play, and this is where you'll see the most results. So a good example, I think, for me, that it made sense when I was discussing it with a friend at some point was, I remember we were writing A-levels in Poland, and don't get me wrong, it's not like I enjoy writing exams. They do stress me out as well, as they do everyone. But there does come a point, if you are preparing for an exam, where you'll either gonna let go of the outcome and accept that you've done all you could, you've been diligent about your work, and now is simply the time to relax for the last, let's say 24 hours before the exam. Take your mind off of the exam as much as you can, recuperate, relax, and then go into the exam and do your best. And that's the part where you are letting go and you're giving over to God, to universe, to fate, to luck, what the outcome is going to be. Or you can struggle against it. You can cram all night. You can be stressing out that this is one thing that I don't know and I forgot another one, and keep listing things that you still don't remember. And I've witnessed it firsthand. I've had a friend she was a very diligent student. She was one of the best in class. And she certainly had better grades on average than I did in high school. But then when the time came, high school or secondary school for you, I don't know, but the one before A-levels, and when the time came for us to write the exams, I came into the exam, I exchanged polite niceties with my friends, and I sat down and I wrote the exam, and I was stressed a little bit, but ultimately I allowed myself to let go, and I came out feeling quite happy about my performance, and I did very, very well. And then she was very stressed about it. She couldn't stop revising just moments before the exam. She was like proper stressed out, crying, clinging onto this idea that if she just remembers one more word, if she just remembers one more thing, she will do better on the exam. And because she didn't let go, because I believe, that's my perspective at least, because she came into the exam with the expectations and she couldn't let go of the idea that, she might not be remembering something, she struggled greatly and she had very bad outcomes. And I think this is the case for many people out there who were not at any point actually either encouraged to deal with a stress in a way that is more practical, more polite to your body and to yourself, or with those that were too perfection driven in a sense and were not reminded by anyone that at some point you need to let go. There are moments in life when you've planned all you could. Now is the time to let go. And that happens at all times, everywhere. I think every day, essentially, you have a level of letting go you have to do. There is only so much you can do about your friend meeting you at the time. There is only so much you can do about making it to work on time. There is only so much you can do about making your breakfast, like you don't have, you're not all knowing and you're not all present. So you simply sometimes cannot change things that happen. And this law of least effort is inviting us, in my perspective, to accept the things the way they are, to do our best in circumstance, and simply let go of the outcomes and believe, have faith. And this is coming back to that second approach and second law and first law of pure potentiality and of giving, that you just give in to what's going to happen. You put your best foot forward, and the rest becomes, it's up to God, up to the universe to be explored, right? Now I'll close off with this one. And maybe just to put it into context as well. I remember talking with my friend about no pain, no gain attitude when it comes to workouts, and that's certainly not the attitude of law of least effort, at least from Deepak Chopra's part. Now, I will mention this law because we still have a little time, and I think actually it ties very well with what we've discussed before. We've talked about manifestation at some point, about visualizing, and the law of intention and desire is that in practice. The quote here is, "Inherent in every intention and desire is the mechanics for its fulfillment. Intention and desire in the field of pure potentiality have infinite organizing power." So the way you visualize things, the way people teach us how to visualize, whether it's Deepak Chopra or Joe Dispenza or many others, Tony Robbins, it's always about being in the present, right? Becoming present with yourself, maybe through breathing exercises, maybe through meditation, through some sort of contemplation. And in this relaxed state, when you're not bothered about the menial tasks of this world or, troubles that you have, in this space, you transform your life through intention. Intention transforms, attention energizes. So if you want to visualize something, and I would encourage you to try it for some time, maybe try with something really small to begin with, simply so you're not, suddenly visualizing being 20 years down the line in somewhere, because you might not be visualizing it long enough to see if it happens. Maybe start with something slightly smaller. But in that relaxed state, try to imagine as if it was already here, because our brain, our spirit does not know the difference between future, past, and present. That's why we can get so worked up about the past or so worried about the future. And in the same way, you can get so excited about the future that is not even here through, in pure intention and desire. And imagine what it would look like as much detail as possible, in so many visceral senses as possible. Imagine how it smells where you are, how it looks where you are, how it feels where you are. And by making that intention and sending it out to the universe, maybe imagine it as a ball of light and then just lob it out into the universe from your head. Over time, as you trust into the process and you become more and more energized through these activities, you might just find that it works. I know it works for me, and not always. And, there are many situations when I'm simply not doing it right because I'm too stressed, I'm not present, I'm whatever. But I think it's a wonderful one to leave you with as well. The law of intention and desire. Now, as I promised, before I let you go, I'll just read all 7 spiritual laws of success according to Deepak Chopra. So please, if you don't want to hear them, now is the time to click button, turn off. All right. I assume you've either clicked it and you're no longer here, or you've clicked it and decide now I'm back. For those who didn't click and are listening still, these are the 7 spiritual laws of success according to Deepak Chopra, with their responsive quotes. The law of pure potentiality. Our true essence is pure consciousness, a field of infinite creativity and possibility. The law of giving. Giving and receiving are interconnected, creating a flow of abundance in the universe. The law of karma, or cause and effect. Every action generates energy that returns to us, shaping our reality through conscious choices. The law of least effort. Success flows effortlessly when we align with nature's ease, practicing acceptance, responsibility, and defenselessness. The law of intention and desire. Clear intentions combined with detachment activate the universe's power to manifest desires. The law of dharma, or purpose in life. Living in alignment with our unique purpose serves humanity and leads to fulfillment. And the last law, the law of detachment. Releasing attachment to outcomes allows infinite possibilities to unfold naturally. As you can see, the many different laws are actually very, very tightly intertwined and linked. Basically, they create a coherent whole. And so yeah, here we are. In terms of the invitation, a challenge, if you will, for this week, I would like to invite you to choose one of these laws or choose one of the things that we've discussed today and put it into practice for a week. Maybe, as I said, maybe try to give a compliment to at least one person every day for a week. Or maybe try to manifest something for the next few weeks or 1 week, and so forth and so forth. Maybe just write down your goal to begin with and then start manifesting. And I'll leave you with one more invite for the 21 Days of Abundant Meditation by Deepak Chopra. I'll link below the link for you on Spotify and on YouTube to check it out. So please, find 10 minutes of your day for the next 21 days and try it. It can be truly wonderful and a great introduction as well to how it feels to meditate. So if you haven't had the chance to try it yet, this is your moment, this is your nudge to do so. Other than that, as per usual, please make sure to follow and subscribe. And thank you for all of you who are still hanging about and listening. And welcome to those who joined recently. And I wish you a wonderful week. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.